you know?
That's part of it too. Like one thing other advice I was gonna say is like when I'm at a convention, I'm like, these are my people, like everybody there, like whether they're into comics or they're not. And Johnny's the same way. I've seen Johnny in action too, because we've definitely tabled together. But like anybody that comes up, like me and Johnny we could talk to them about the Deadpool movie for a half hour and not even talk about our comics. And they might walk away, but like sometimes I'd say one out of three people will come back later on and like
planting seeds, man. Planting seeds. That's what that is. That's what I always call it.
Just being kind to somebody for 10, 15 minutes at the show. And I mean, obviously you don't want to get caught in one of those situations where the person's going to talk to you for like 2 hours, but like, it's always like, I don't know. I always try to give people a few minutes. You know what I mean?
Well, like, what though? Like, we don't matter to anybody, like you said. But, however, every now and then, you might touch somebody. You know what I mean? Like some little kid might get inspired and make their own thing. Those people who I bag their groceries, who finally got their bagging right. They know now there's somebody out there that got them.
I love if you would have just taken the context out of everything and then just played what he said. Like, if you touched them like a little kid, like, and
well, big family show. I mean,
you don't care about comics. Nobody cares about us.
Right.
Yeah, right. Nobody cares about us.
And if you touch a little kid,
you touch that kid?
And then you can make a sale.
What I'm trying to say is,
time for a deep fake. No, just kidding. Just kidding, Harry. I'd never do that.
No, it's all right. It'd be funny. Maybe during ratings week.
YouTube rating week.
Right.
Oh man, it's been but this. I didn't come on tonight thinking we'd talk about convention etiquette and just like selling at cons, but it's been a great conversation. I feel like we haven't talked about this in a long time. Wouldn't you say, Johnny? I mean, me and you kind of discussed it, where we're at shows and things like that. But
we dug into real deal shit that we legit happens to us. You know what I mean? All the time. And you know what I mean? Like, and I loved hearing about Brandon going, like, I just walk away from the table and I do some other things. Like there's all ways that we handle it and deal with it. Like in San Diego, the way our booth is set up is that we have our banners and then behind our banners, we have some chairs and that's our little lounge. And if we ever have to decompress, we go back there.
Just walk.
It's just our way to just decompress and not let like rough sales day, bad customer, whatever, or, get to you.
Yeah.
We all have our different ways of doing things.
I try to be also like this. I think is also important is like, you want to try to be like the guy just sitting there, but not like, I hate the salesman types too at conventions. The ones that like bark at you to come over. And like, I always feel like that sets up a bad precedence for everybody in Artist Alley.
I do that, but I don't bark at them. If I see that they catch their eye, I beckon them over.
There's a difference between what you do and say, I don't know, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
like,
I know the type.
But the type that comes over like a used car salesman, like, what's it going to cost to put you in this comic today?
Yeah,
that kind of thing,
Can you smell that book? Here, smell the pages.
Yeah. Look at this print quality. Look at it. Check it out. Look at the pages. And you're like, no, dude.
We always do like... I'll show you matte finish.
But you do see those types, and I think they scare a lot of customers. So I always
also have to think like you also have to think about being a consumer, right? Not everybody at Comic-Con is a comic person, so you can scare the usuals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
you don't want to scare the usuals.
Cool part, like being strategic at cons too, is that we've been in artist alleys, we've done like vendor spots, we've done we're doing the cosplay podcast area to test that out, but like branching out from the typical areas at a con kind of gives you a really good advantage sometimes. Like we were in Philly for Thy Kingdom Con, and we were like with the vendors at a corner booth, and dude, we killed it. We had a great weekend there, but like the artist alley was hard to get to, you know what I mean? And that's the thing, going over these cons that you're like, man, this con isn't good for comics, but if you place yourself somewhere where the comics aren't and where all the other stuff is, you know, it might cost a little extra for that table, but yeah, you might have a shot at that. Yeah.
Your
Yeah, I agree. Like I kind of approach most cons as like they're not comic cons, and then I try to do well at them.
Yeah.
So sometimes me and my wife set up at like other things like street art festivals, and we end up being like one of the only like actual comic creators at like one of those events. And I'll do okay. Like there's people that are interested in comics that go to those, you know, it's
because
just
then
like
your
everyday
booths are
people.
cheaper there too. You're not paying,
Yeah, they usually are. Sometimes
$300 to
they're a little more.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
right. They're not $600, like, but like they'll range from anywhere from like $50 to like sometimes 200.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
it's a free event, so like everybody there, it's a ton of people. Johnny's been at a few with me. The only thing that can hurt you really bad at those is the weather, and if you don't have, if you're not prepared for weather kind of conditions. But overall, I would say to all creatives out there to try that in your local town. Most towns have like a summer stroll or like an art festival that you can kind of get in. The only thing is you have to invest in like your own tables, chairs, and tent. So there is a little bit of cost to doing this if you want to try to do it, but I'll tell you, you'll have no competition there.
Yeah,
that's long term.
You know, that's sick.
But your only competition is yourself at those shows. You know what I mean?
And all those things will pay for themselves too. You know, after a while.
Yeah, they do. You know, and like me and Amy do a bunch now. It's like it's almost half Comic Cons and half those things every year now.